Another problem has arisen with me using my fancy second-hand desktop. I should probably come into these things more prepared, but whatever. Fuck it. I'll do it as I please. And that problem is I can't use Windows Movie Maker anymore to give it a nice little fade out to black at the end of the video, which I don't think anyone even noticed that I did that, but that's something that I did. If anyone ever watched to the end of one of these videos, which is, I think, unlikely at best, you might have noticed, but I won't be able to do that anymore because Movie Maker support has been discontinued or something, and for whatever reason I had it on Windows 10 on my laptop, but I can't get it on Windows 10 on my desktop. So I'm just gonna, I mean, it's not like my channel is well known for quality anyway, is it? But what I'm gonna do from now on is just sort of dunk the video onto YouTube direct from converting it to an MP4 in the Elgato software. So I hope we're all pleased about that. Another thing that I did, and to be honest, you probably won't even have seen. Well, no, yeah, you would have seen the Wide Boys episode of Project Gotham Racing. I did an episode of Rally Sport Challenge 2 called Ace Combat Against Trees, and both of those videos were in widescreen mode on the old original Xbox. What I think was going on with widescreen mode was that it was just messing up the aspect ratio because everything looks funny. So what I've gone and done is turn it back to normal mode, and I mean, I never changed it on this game, but I feel better already. Stop bumping into me for just a second so I can talk and drift at the same time. Pretty please. So I've turned it back, and I think that's made the screen brighter as well. I don't know what was causing it to be so dark, but changing it back has made it brighter. I could probably just go into the settings of my monitor and turn the brightness up, you know, if I was that mad about it, and if I cared that much, but I didn't really. So I sort of didn't bother. And now we're back to square one. And the screen, the actual projection of the Xbox is filling up just as much as of the screen as it was when I switched it to widescreen mode. So I'm not sure it's made that much of a difference. Frankly, you'd probably be hard pressed to tell if I hadn't, if I didn't talk about it. Oh shit! How long did that race take? I also need to keep an eye on how long I'm recording for. Right, it's 12:48 now. I'll call that race about 3 or 4 minutes, so I'll end this episode at 1. It's half term now. Well, it's half term for me. Mine started a day earlier than mainstream population because I am a sixth former, and the year 11s have today to get a taste of what sixth form courses are like. Actually, I remember meeting a guy from a different school on the sixth form taster day, and then I never saw him again. I wonder what that means. Probably means he went to a different... Probably just means he went to a different school. Let's not think about it too much. And then when I go back to school, I've got mock exams, and then pretty much straight after that, well, not straight after that, maybe a month or two after that, I've got actual exams. So really, the idea of this half term isn't to be a holiday at all, it's to be time for me to revise. But fuck that, because I want to play Need for Speed, and that's the way it is. I feel like I've raced at this track before. I'll do some revision later. To get onto my uni course, I only need to get C's in pretty much everything. Well, in everything. But especially in English, because that's the one that they specified I need a C in. I'm working at a B in English right now. So basically I'm already in a lecture hall. I can more or less sit back. Media is easy. Media is what you would describe as a Mickey Mouse subject. It's only history that I'm going to need to work in. And I've got so much revision material for history, you couldn't even shake a stick at it. And I've got a whole week to do it in. It'll be fine, is what I'm saying. There is no need to worry about a damn thing. I might not have an end goal for life, alright? I might not have a long-term goal, but the short-term goal of getting into university is, I would consider it pretty much a done deal already. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and play Need for Speed for this whole week, because if I did, I'd get fucking pissed, because I've just had this race stolen from me at literally the last fucking corner. Anyway, that's the end of that thought, pretty much. If I ended it halfway through a sentence, you could probably tell where the sentence was going to end. Anyway, so it doesn't really matter. More bad news. If you know about my Vidly channel, which, you know, it wouldn't surprise me if you didn't know about Vidly at all as a website, but it's a YouTube alternative, essentially, and I use it to upload shit that's more like shit you're supposed to actually put on the internet, rather than just dumping out a bajillion Let's Play videos, you know. I've done myself one or two, well, one so far, anime reviews, which I only plan on doing when I feel strongly about a show. I'm not just going to review everything I watch, because it's not that I watch too much stuff to review everything I watch. It's just that I don't feel like it's worth reviewing something unless you have something to say about it. And that can be good or bad. But there's no point reviewing something if all you're going to say is, yeah, it's alright. You know? Related, I also put up GoPro videos of me riding around on my motorbike on there, because riding around on my bike is something that I enjoy doing, but I can't do it all the time, and usually the weather's pretty bad. So if I can if I can record a couple of videos of myself riding in fairly decent weather and then dump those up, I can live vicariously through my own past experiences, rather than having to put on 3 or 4 layers of coat, you know, in the middle of winter. I mean, it's getting to summer now. And I was planning on riding a couple of times and recording it during this half term, the holiday that I'm on. But just last night, first night, you know, I get in Thursday after recording the first one that I thought about doing. I get in, and the first thing pretty much I do when I get home is break the skeleton, the case, because a GoPro is just the camera, right? And then you have to put it in a case, and then that case slots onto a little plastic thing that attaches to your actual helmet. We'll do this race. I'll do this race, and then I'll put stickers on the car, and then I'll do the magazine cover. I think is the plan. And I broke that just fiddling with it, because it wasn't an actual GoPro one. It was a Chinese one that my dad got for his knockoff GoPro that he has never used. And I used it because the only GoPro cases I have are the shit waterproof ones that don't let any engine sound in. So they sound pretty fucking terrible. And the skeleton one actually made it sound good because you could hear more engine than wind. So I was planning to use that some more, because there's no point using the waterproof one anyway because it's going on my helmet. I mean, even in heavy rain, you know, I could ride along with the skeleton one and it would probably be fine. But whatever. The point is, it's broken. And the real bad news is that you can't fucking buy another one online anywhere. It just doesn't exist. The only GoPro cases are just waterproof ones with holes cut in them. And I already have a waterproof one. So I'm just going to cut my own holes in it. Because there's no point spending money for a cut up version of something I already have when I can just cut up the thing that I already have. So that's the plan. I don't know if I'm going to fuck it up, but I'm thinking of starting with just one little hole, and then the Xbox One headset I have has a detachable microphone. So I figure if I just drill a hole near the microphone plug on the GoPro thing, on the actual camera, I drill a hole in the case, I can just have a mic sticking out of it. So that's plan number one. And then if that falls through, I can just cut some bigger sections out of the waterproof, so that the GoPro can use its internal mic. I'm glad that cars only block me, like that cars only ever pull out in front of me, and I'm glad that my car spins around every time I hit another car. I'm really enjoying myself playing this game. I'm having a great time. Here's a controversial but correct opinion that I've been marinating on these past couple of days. And every time I see footage or play Need for Speed Underground 2, I think it again. I think to myself, I prefer Underground 1. Now, I know what you're thinking. Joe, when you played Underground 1, you did not like it. And this is true. I had a lot of problems with Underground 1 when I was playing it. I thought that everything was too light was the main problem. And the way the cars reacted to curbs, you know, and like driving up on the pavement, didn't thrill me either. But as I compare it to this, where everything is heavy and it feels much slower. Yeah, I knew I wasn't going to win that. I knew I wasn't going to win that when I fucking crashed it the first time. I don't know why I thought I could bring it back. Let's go again. And then I've probably run over time, so I'm going to have to end it after this. Which I was planning on doing anyway. But yeah, I prefer Underground 1. It's faster. Is the main thing. It's faster, and the way the cars drive, I think, is more satisfying. because you know you can chuck them into corners, and instead of understeering into a van, let's say, I totally just didn't. My brain didn't just jump to a van because I could see a van on the screen. I can think more creatively than that, I promise. Yeah, it's just faster paced. It feels faster. You know, I'm doing 120 miles an hour right now. And I don't know if it's just because I'm on an Xbox rather than a PlayStation. But this game feels sluggish. Whereas Underground 1, you know, on the other hand, if you're doing 120 miles an hour, you got the wind whipping by, not the wind, you got lights whipping past you, the roads are narrower, you know, it's closer to the edge, it's more intense, and if there's anything a street racing game should be, you should feel, you know, it should be intense. Because street racing is supposed to be one of the most high octane forms of racing cars. You know, and I get that I'm driving a Nissan Sentra, and getting a Sentra up to 120 miles an hour, even after all the money I've spent on it, upgrades and stuff, making a Sentra do 120 would probably never happen, especially not downtown like this. You'd have to take it out on the motorway. You know, if anything, street racing should be, you know, I'm doing nearly 140. Street racing maximum speed should probably be about half that. Especially if you're doing it downtown like this. But if that's the case, just make the roads tighter. You know, you don't have to be doing 200 miles an hour for a race to be intense. My bike tops out at 70. Right? And I can be doing 40 just down the road. But because it's so narrow, and because there's so much stuff going on, it's intense. You know, it gets your blood pumping, even just doing 40 miles an hour on a Chinese 125. You know, make these roads narrower. And I mean, I don't know about adding more traffic, but, you know, just make it so there's more going on. Or just up the speed, which is what Need for Speed went for. Because they did Most Wanted and Carbon after this. And instead of making the races more intense by making things tighter, you know, and narrower, they went, we'll keep everything really wide, but to make up for it, we'll make everything go 200 miles an hour. And we'll dump in a bunch of supercars. And that works too, you know, I'm fine with that. A lot of people, Most Wanted is their favourite one. I wouldn't call Most Wanted my favourite one, but I can see why. Underground 2, I wouldn't call my favourite one. And it's, you know, it's a smidge harder for me to figure out why someone would. Anyway, next week, I'm going to cover this car in fucking stickers. And then do a magazine cover. Let me just spend about 20 minutes switching back to PC view.